Good evening. I would like to call to order the March 5th, 2019 Little Rock, Arkansas City Board of Directors meeting. We would like to welcome those in attendance as well as those watching at home or online. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Director Hendricks, Director Richardson, Director Webb, Director Peck, Director Hines, Director Wright, Director Campuris, Director Fortson, Director Adcock, Vice Mayor Wyrick, Mayor Scott.
Here. Now I want to take the time to recognize Director Richardson that will now do the invocation.
May you bow, be pleased. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings that you bestowed upon us. We pray for the safety and security of all our employees. We pray for the safety and security of all of our citizens. We pray, Lord, that our decisions that we make up here take in consideration the interests of all of our citizens. I repeat, all of our citizens. These things we pray in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. May we all stand for pledge allegiance. We'll now start with the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, if you would.
The consent agenda consists of a motion to approve the minutes of the February 5th, 2019 and the February 19th, 2019 Little Rock City Board of Director meetings, a resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a construction contract with Redstone Construction Group, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $4,538,141.56 for street resurfacing within the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a construction observation contract with McClellan Consultant Engineers in an amount not to exceed $150,000 for the 2019 street resurfacing program and for other purposes. A resolution to authorize an increase to the contract amount for Terracon Consultants, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $6,500 for additional professional engineering consultant services for the design of the Cell 4 partial closure of the Class 1 landfill and for other purposes. A resolution to authorize an increase to the contract amount for Terracon Consultants, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $33,500 for additional professional engineering consultant services for the design of the River Trail Slope Stabilization Project and for other purposes. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with ZMD Lawn Services, LLC and Jewel of a Lawn in a total amount of $71,000 for mowing services at Riverfront Park and areas around Interstate 30 and for other purposes. A resolution to certify local government endorsement of Simmons Bank located at 601 East 3rd Street, Little Rock, Arkansas to participate in the Arkansas Tax Back Program as authorized by Arkansas Code 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003 and for other purposes. A resolution to authorize the city manager to reimburse the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau in the amount not to exceed $250,370.74 for the purchase and installation of a new HVAC system in the River Market Ottenheimer Hall and for other purposes.
It's been moved and properly second for the adoption of the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Sorry about that, Director Hendricks. Director Hendricks.
On Resolution 2, before we vote on this, I would like to have a listing of every street in each ward. That's Resolution number 2. And I also had a question about the number that has to do with the cleaning and picking up the trash. I support that, but is there a separation of city and state when it comes to issuing out that kind of money to a church?
Yes, ma'am. We're first to answer your first question. We're going to ask Mr. John Honeywell to share that information. And then as far as ordinance number 12, there's going to be a lot of discussion about that here shortly. But once we get to the grouped items, we'll have the opportunity to discuss that. But yes, ma'am.
I'll defer.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Mr. Honeywell.
Mayor, members of the board, Director Hendricks, I've supplied a list that has, excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's all I need.
It's a list for every project that we're doing in this contract in each ward, and the length of those particular sections of road that we're resurfacing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what I need to know.
Thank you so much, Director Hendricks. Director Richardson, did you have a question?
No, you didn't turn my light back. You didn't turn it off from the invocation.
We now, in regards to, sorry about that, in regards to the grouped items, I will go ahead and allow those who come to speak against. We have 3 that are for item number 12. We'll start there before reading them, if that's possible. We'll start with Reverend Paul Akins.
Hey, Mayor, could we recognize Mr. Massengill from Simmons?
Yes, yes, thank you so much. Massengill or Massinelli? Massinelli. Mr. Massinelli, if you would, please approach just to, thank you so much. Thank you for reminding me too, James.
Thank you.
And for everyone watching, Mr. Massinelli is speaking in regards to recently passed ordinance number, I believe it is 7. Thank you so much, Mr. Massinelli. If you would, just kind of share with everyone that's watching online and in the room who you are.
Thank you, Mayor Scott, and distinguished council members. I'm Steve Massinelli, Executive Vice President, Chief Administrative Officer, and Investor Relations Officer for Simmons First National Corporation. And I'm here tonight with Misty Ball, Director of Tax for Simmons Bank. On behalf of the Simmons organization, we'd like to thank the City of Little Rock and the board for your support. We are pleased to acquire the former Axiom building, now called the River Market Building, in the vibrant city of Little Rock and make it a regional hub just an hour from our corporate headquarters in Pine Bluff. Simmons continues to increase our banking operations in new areas of the country, and while we're now in 7 states, many of our centralized services remain in Arkansas, where we were founded and we're committed to growing and investing in the state. Since the River Market Building was purchased in March of 2017, we've successfully recruited top talent to the state while remodeling and enhancing the facility. The renovations and enhancement to the River Market Building, which are nearing completion, will serve the company's growing staff in the city, many of whom are able to bike and walk to work or use the 500-spot parking garage, which is a great thing for us, in the exercise facility and the outdoor park. As Simmons continues to grow, we'd like for our communities to benefit as well. Our goal is to be a vital contributor to all the communities we serve. We look forward to continued growth and partnership in the future. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Massinelli. I really want to extend our appreciation to you and your company in furthering and deepening your growth in the city of Little Rock. It's a big deal that you guys took occupation of the Axiom building as we're continuing to grow in downtown Little Rock, with downtown Little Rock being one of the heartbeats of the city as we move forward with job growth. So we do appreciate your company. We do know you did not have to expand in the city of Little Rock, and we appreciate you for expanding in the city of Little Rock and hope you will continue to expand and grow and continue to diversify the marketplace as you move forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Mayor and council members.
Thank you. To get back to the grouped items agenda, we'll now ask for, we have 3 agenda cards. We'll start with Mr. Reverend Paul Akins that will be speaking for item number 12.
Well, Mayor and Board, my name is Reverend Paul Atkins, and I'm one of the associate pastors at Canvas Community, one of the church that's involved in the program that we hope to launch.
Excuse me, just Mayor, you need to have a first reading.
This is correct. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
that's okay.
Got you started a little early. That's all right. Madam Clerk, will you please read items 9 through 12 for the grouped items?
An ordinance to amend the land use plan in the area east of Interstate 530 in the Union Pacific Rail Line within the city's planning jurisdiction and for other purposes. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid to award a maintenance agreement to Motorola Solutions, Inc. in the amount of $122,423.54 to provide fourth quarter 2018 maintenance for the city's 800 megahertz radio system infrastructure, portable and mobile radios, and for other purposes. An ordinance to authorize the mayor or city manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Canvas Community Church in an amount not to exceed $80,000 for the person's experience in homelessness pilot project and for other purposes. First reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the ordinance to second reading. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, nay. No ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to amend the land use plan in the area east of Interstate 530 in the Union Pacific Rail Line within the city's planning jurisdiction. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid to award a maintenance agreement to Motorola Solutions, Inc. in the amount of $122,423.54 to provide fourth quarter 2018 maintenance for the city's 800 megahertz radio system infrastructure, portable and mobile radios, and for other purposes. An ordinance to authorize the mayor or city manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Canvas Community Church in an amount not to exceed $80,000 for the persons experiencing homelessness pilot project. Second reading.
Is there a motion to do the second reading?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to move it to third and final reading. Before we, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. We'll now extend. Reverend Akins, you can please come back.
Mayor and
Second try is always the best try.
That's right. Mayor and Board of Directors, I'm honored to be before you and to be part of this planning so far. So far, the planning of this has been very exciting. We hope to, this project is a pilot project that we hope to have where we offer same-day work opportunities for folks who are experiencing homelessness and including folks that are panhandling, to give them an opportunity to do some beautification projects around the city, earn some money that same day, and have opportunities to connect with other services that will help them overcome the obstacles that they have in their lives that are keeping them from full-time work, from really fully offering their gifts to the world. So we hope to be able to connect with folks in this project, do some life coaching, have some side-by-side mentoring, support groups, and connect them to the services that already exist in the city at various service providers that are helping people overcome the obstacles for which there are many that keep people from engaging in the workforce. So this is kind of a immediate impact and a long-term impact, we hope. I'll be available if you have any questions or further discussion.
Director Adcock?
Yes. Pastor Atkins, can you tell me how many people do you see? I know we've got so many homeless, so how many are you going to start out with servicing and then bring on new ones? And is there a limit to how long they can stay in the program?
This is a work in progress. I mean, every day we have the capacity for about 8 to 10. So we'll operate 3 days a week during the pilot time. So that would be potentially 24 per week. It may work out that in order to allow people to make those connections, that they have to come back and work several days in a row in order to form the relationships. with the life coaches, with the service providers, and discern what's the best place for them. We haven't figured out that magic combination. I don't think if we had 8 different individuals every day of the program for 6 months that would have a significant impact. The relationships don't get formed and cemented and actualized that fast. We couldn't process that many people and get them connected to services. So that's part of the data that we are keeping as part of this.
But thank you so much to you and your church, because I'm so glad that we've got a new initiative that we're going to try to help the people that are homeless in our city. Thank you very much for doing this, you and your church, because this new initiative will give us an opportunity to try something new to help the people of homelessness in our city. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Director Adcock. Director Richardson?
Thank you. Pastor Atkins, a couple of quick questions. Just kind of dovetail Jones' point a minute ago. How are you going to identify the service population? How are you going to identify the group of people that you're going to provide supportive services for?
Several different ways. Some of them we already know. We have relationships with a lot of different folks through our outreach activities. But we're also, part of my job is to stay connected across the city. So we know people at Jericho Way that are excited about this. We plan to drive around and engage with folks that are actively panhandling. The model from Albuquerque, the Better Way program, that's what they do, is they drive around and engage panhandlers and offer them a guaranteed paycheck at the end of a workday, and lunch as well. So that's basically what we're going to do. So we've already talked last Tuesday about driving around to Director Wright's area, where she requested at least to try to engage with folks that are panhandling in her area, and we would be willing to drive around and engage different people throughout the city to offer them the opportunity. Obviously, nobody's compelled to do that, so that's the game plan.
So how do we, I know a lot of times we talk about spending tax dollars for supportive services, and you just mentioned one of my colleagues who's always been insistent on making sure we're able to evaluate and assess and track and document the effectiveness of what we're doing. How are we going to track, monitor, and evaluate these services that we're providing to determine whether or not we're successful?
Certainly. Well, that's why we want to maintain these long-term relationships and track the numbers of people that are involved every day, the number of people that actually do want to engage in different services, which services. We're starting to form official relationships with various service providers around the city so that we can work together so we can keep track of and maintain those relationships. I go back to relationships. So that it's all data that we are pledging to keep track of so that we can tell the story of individuals and overall who's engaging with more than just working for a day.
So I guess my last question is, so we're looking at a cumulative number that we want to provide services for, and are we determining our success by actual job placements or day labor, whatever, how we want to classify, or how are we determining whether or not we're effective? Or are we looking at a cumulative number that we want to provide services for, or are we determining our effectiveness by actual placements?
I think we can only attend to what we have control over, and then decide if this is worth investing in at the end of the day. We can only attend to, today we're going to go engage 8 people, try to engage with them in their lives, and then offer them the opportunity to engage further. And then from there, we'll track where that goes. I mean, it's like any type of goal setting in the homeless world. If we're all scared to say we're going to end homelessness in Little Rock, and that would be wonderful, and that's what we're working to do. But that we're not going to judge ourselves by
That's our
that.
job up here. That's not your job.
So It feels like I'm not answering your question, but I'm telling you what we can do. I mean, the sales, that's my other world, is sales, and I can only judge myself on well, I mean, I can only judge, I can only control what I can do. So I can only control how many calls I make that day. We can only control engaging with these people and giving it our best every day with these 8 people, with these 8 people,
So
with
8
these
is our
people.
target.
Well, 8 a day is about the capacity that we have.
And do we have a cumulative number we're looking at? It's a 6-month pilot program, correct?
Right,
And
6
we're
months.
utilizing any foundation dollars or any grants other than the city's funding?
At this, for the pilot program, no, it's just the
It's
city's
strictly city
funding.
funding? And the 6-month pilot project?
Yes, sir.
And after 6 months, we'll use what kind of measures to determine whether or not we want to continue this? And this could be with you or internally, James, with staff. What will we use as a gauge to determine whether or not we want to continue supporting something like this? And at the end of 6 months, and Pastor Atkins comes back and says, "I want to keep doing this." How are we going to determine whether or not this is something we need to do?
A lot of the measurements that we will utilize are the amount of debris that's being picked up, the beautification efforts that we can see, the number of individuals that have participated, not just in the work itself and getting a paycheck, but also those who are becoming more engaged with the services that are being provided, identified through Canvas, and seeing how individuals are progressing, I think, beyond just working a day.
So the beautification could be geographically targeted based on what areas. Like you just mentioned, Doris she wants you to come to her areas, and I'm sure a couple others of us want you to come to our areas. So the beautification could be geographically specific and subjective to a certain extent.
We will have Public Works. We know where a lot of debris is, and so Public Works will be providing locations, the day in advance or a couple of days in advance, so we will know where we need to take individuals, before the day we pick them up to go work.
And our hope is that those areas where we have a high number of debris, we have a high concentration of panhandlers and homeless folks, so transportation won't be that much of an issue in terms of getting them to the sites.
That would be ideal.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Director Hendricks.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, where's your church located?
It's at 7th Street, close to the Central Fire Station at 7th and Chester.
What's your address?
1111 West 7th Street.
Is it any way that the church is going to help pay the expenditures of this church along with the 800? Is that 800?
Nope. 80,000.
80,000. Has the church considered contributing to this?
We're contributing our relational capital with the homeless community and our ability to connect with them and engage them with services. So if you asked us to do this by ourselves, we're a tiny church of folks that are spiritually or literally homeless. So we don't have any physical or financial capital in this pilot program.
And the thing that I have asked Mr. Carpenter, I'm concerned about monies being contributed, such as church and state, a separation of those funds. I know we don't have the answer, but I have asked the attorney to check on that. And also, I would suggest, if this passes, then I would like for streets to be determined by this board or the staff of this city, not the church.
Certainly, we're not. You talking about which streets we pick up on?
Yeah, we will. I'm asking that the city will design what we know where they are. Yeah, we know
That's the
exactly where
plan.
they are. But I don't want it to happen that everything is happening on this part of town and nothing's happening on my part of the town.
Certainly.
Okay.
That's why we're being directed by the Department of Public Works as to where we are picking.
Yeah, no, the
Things
Public
up.
Works will hear from me, I know, as Ward 1 director, because the Public Works probably doesn't know too much about what's going on other than digging, fixing the streets. Thank you.
Sure.
So that's what I'm asking, Mayor, that we determine where these pickups will be.
Yes, ma'am. We will be working closely, and when I say we, the Public Works Department will be getting with each member of the board that's reflected as far as the targeted areas. And so John Honeywell will make certain that he visit with you and other members of the board as well. Director Webb.
Thank you, Mayor Scott. First of all, I think that for those of you who don't know Paul, there are very few people in Little Rock who have the kind of relationship with members of our homeless community that Paul does in terms of trust and reach. And so I can't think of a better person to be leading this project. And thank you and Canvas for being willing to step up. Many of the people on the board and hopefully some in the audience heard Alan Armillo last year when he came to visit with us. And one of the things that was very striking to me was when they participated in the pilot project, they allocated $50,000 for it in Albuquerque and their city board. And when they came back after the pilot project, and they used some of the same metrics that we're going to use, like not only how many people participated and how much trash was collected and did the city look better, but what kind of services did people take advantage of, and did people move into permanent housing and jobs? But they came back and asked for $50,000 to continue the project, and the board said, no, that's not enough. This project has been so good. We believe that this has been so beneficial to the city in terms of beautification and to the members of the homeless community that we want to do more. And so, as Paul said, we're still just getting into this, but I hope that that's the situation here. And last week we recognized Paul and Reverend Brooks, and there are two other people who were really involved in this. Brian Wagner, the student from the Clinton School who has researched this in city after city across the country. And Brian, if he could just wave. And Norm Berner is here and from Keep Little Rock Beautiful, and was one of the people who contacted Alan Armillo and got him here to come and visit with us. So, Paul, thank you.
Director Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to thank you for taking on this initiative. It's very important. I think it's another tool in our arsenal. And I think Director Richardson and Director Hendricks addressed my question about how the areas would be selected that you go to. And since we're going to be working through our Public Works Department, that answers that question. I do have another area that I've had some constituents to contact me and say they would love it if you all would try to engage the homeless that congregate in the area of 37th and Bryant, in that area at the Shoppers Value Shopping Center. And all of this flows down to our Kroger. So those are just some sites that we have been unsuccessful over the years in getting that segment of the population to go to our homeless shelter. So if we could offer them work, that might help them get off the street. So I'd appreciate if you would look at those areas.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Peck.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to add a couple of things. So many of us went to the presentation several months ago, and A Better Way from Albuquerque. And this sort of addresses questions, I think, of Director Richardson's and Director Adcock about number of people. Their philosophy was that somebody couldn't show up 3 days a week or every shift for 6 months, trying to reach as many homeless as possible to not only give them the opportunity to get a paycheck and to connect with social services, but to cast the net as widely as we possibly can. And hopefully this will become successful and we'll go from 1 van to 2 vans to 3 vans. But I'm super excited about it and really want to thank Canvas for stepping up. I think it's going to be a wonderful program.
Well, our people are very excited about it as well. I mean, they're like, when can we start? Can we start today? Well, they haven't even voted on it, so probably not. So,
Director Richardson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Paul, thank you and your team. I think these are much-needed services for our community. You can drive through and look, not just the aesthetic value of the trash, but the people just gathering and the human capital that we're failing to capitalize on. And I really appreciate it, and I hope this is successful, and I think it's a much-needed supportive service for us. But staff, internally, how did we make the determination? I'm assuming we're sole sourcing this, correct? We didn't RFQ this, RFP this?
We are sole sourcing it.
What's our rationale for sole sourcing this?
It is a pilot, and that's the main thing. We did visit with other entities other than Canvas and had communication with different ones. We felt like Canvas could really take this from the beginning and give us more value than if we tried to do it ourselves. And we thought they were the best organization to partner with at this point.
So did we put the cap on a dollar amount of the Canvas? I mean, since it's a pilot project, I mean, it's capped at 80. I know when we do RFQs or RFPs, we have a ceiling for the funding amount that's available for the services. So who determined that $80,000 max for the supportive services?
The city did. We looked at it starting out utilizing a van so many days a week, calculated how many hours we thought would be worked, the number of individuals, what it would cost in terms of transportation and other supplies and the meals and all, and that's how we came up with the 80,000, not to exceed 80.
I got you. Thank you, James. Paul, thank you for what you're doing. Really appreciate it.
Director Hendricks.
My last concern is that what pot of money will this 80,000 be coming from?
It's my understanding that pot of money is coming from our street fund of Public Works.
That's what I need to know. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We'll now have Reverend Gail Brooks, please.
So I'm Reverend Gail Brooks, the lead pastor at Canvas Community Church, and we're really excited to have this opportunity to determine whether or not this is a program that can help our homeless friends, the people that we see on a regular basis at Canvas and around at the other service providers as well. And we're hopeful that it will also prove an effective way to help the city get work done and also help friends see the benefit of having employment, regular employment, and accessing the services that are already available here in town. I'm new to the city of Little Rock as the pastor at Canvas Community Church, and we're just thrilled to be able to offer this opportunity and to see if this is something that will work to help everyone involved. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Brooks. Director Hendricks.
Well, it's my last concern, and I hope that those persons participating will have a racial balance.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We hope, we plan for that to be so. Yes, ma'am.
I'll be watching.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Good.
That is definitely one of those numbers that we were tracking. Yes,
Yes.
we'll.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Director Hendricks. Thank you, Reverend Atkins and Reverend Brooks. Mr. Russ Raycop.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm glad Director Webb paid attention at that candidate forum we were all at last year when I brought up this program with some others, and that the city is going to try this out. Being the son of a Methodist minister, I am somewhat concerned that this is not utilized as a proselytizing method by the church, that they're able to separate their spiritual program from this social service program, and that they don't force the people to pray before they get a shovel or a broom. Nothing wrong with praying before a meal, but I think we need to have some guidelines that this is not a religious program. This is a government program. And along that same vein, as a person that's interested in transparency, I'd like to make sure that we have a open accounting for this 80,000, how it's spent, not like we do with the chamber and the 300,000 that's thrown to them, but that we have an accounting of how every dime is spent, so that the citizens know that it didn't go to build a new altar at the church or something like that. Not saying that would happen, but we want this as public funds, and we want to make sure that we're transparent with that. But again, I commend the Director Webb for making sure that we got this program here, and I'm looking forward to seeing the positive results from that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raycop. Director Webb. You were pushing as I was turning you on, so did you turn back?
Mr. Mayor, being the daughter of a Methodist minister, I certainly am opposed to those sort of things as well. And as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Berner, Norm, is in the audience today, and it was well over a year ago before those forums when Norm and two other folks from the Friends of Fush Creek came and said they knew Alan Armillo when we started working on that to get him here. There are so many people who have worked hard on this and have thought this was going to be a great idea. And if there are no more cards, I move to adopt, or have we already had the motion? Call the question.
The question's been called. Those two, we've now had three readings of the ordinances. Are there any questions? Seeing there's none, all those in favor of the passage of the grouped items, please. We have a motion. We read it. Oh, I thought we did it 3 times. We read it 3 times. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we read it 3 times. No problem. No problem. Do we have a motion?
You don't need a motion, just vote.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Parliamentarian, I'm now going to take a point of chairman's personal privilege. I do know we have executive session that's on the agenda. I'm going to move because we have a enormous amount of yellow cards for our citizens communication, and out of respect to the community, I want us to now move the citizens communications up before we go into executive session and not have the community wait on us to do boards and appointments. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. We'll now move into the citizens communication. Again, I'm also going to take another point of chairman's personal privilege. I do know many are here to discuss Mr. Bradley Blackshire. I've had time to visit with Mr. and Mrs. Blackshire Lee, who are both here. That's the reason why we stepped out. I want to make certain, since we have as we all know, it's about 30 minutes that we have for citizens communication, and there are a lot of cards, and I wanted to make certain that Ms. Kimberly Blackshire Lee and Mr. D'Angelo Lee dedicated who they wanted to speak first to make certain that their voices were heard. And so they have given me the names who they wanted to speak first. After we allowed those individuals to speak first, everyone else who has had, who did write their names will go in that order from that point on. All right? We'll now start. First, we'll go with Mr. Dino Davis.
Good evening to the mayor and city board of directors. My name is Dino Davis, and I come here from my concern for Mr. Blackshire and me, myself, being a victim of overzealous police and renegade police. I'm here to demand that Officer Stark is terminated and prosecuted to the full letter of the law for the murder of Bradley Blackshire. I also demand answers on why this investigation has not been turned over to the Arkansas State Police Department. Policies and procedures were not followed in an edited video released by the city and the police department. It also shows a bias in addressing issues that affect our community daily. It was apparent that Bradley Blackshire did not pose any immediate or imminent threat to Officer Starks. I have witnessed more outrage from the Little Rock City board members for issues such as business proposals and even what to do with paper thrown in a city park than addressing the murder of a young man by one of our own city's police. But the city board of directors have been silent, and I believe that is a shame. This, in my opinion, should be on the city's agenda today and hereafter. I ask the board to place aside your politics and stand for what's right by terminating and prosecuting Officer Starks. Please stand as real elected leaders for justice. This was nothing more or less than cold-blooded murder of one of your own citizens of Little Rock, Arkansas. Justice for Bradley Blackshire.
We'll now have Reverend Rizal Aaron.
Good evening to the mayor and this board of directors, and to those that are sitting behind me. Bradley Blackshire Jr., as some of you know, is my nephew. And so this is not just about a community matter. It's about family. Typically, I'm prepared to speak, but each time I see my nephew walk into a room, I get that roller coaster feeling in my stomach. And so I'm wishing I had have written this down. Many of you may not understand how critical it is when young men of any race lose their fathers, but especially in this manner. Now, we're preparing for in the event that Starks is not charged. We're meeting and we're organizing. And although I hope that I'm wrong, I'm concerned that he will not be charged. If he is not charged, we are going to do everything legally possible to hold this city accountable. We're meeting with different groups. We're organizing. We've got a meeting scheduled for tomorrow with some outside organizations. We've got commitment from out-of-state organizations, including the Black Panther Party. We may have reached a point of no return. If Starks is not prosecuted and if there is no justice for Bradley Blackshire Sr., there will not be justice for anyone. That means if we have to shut down the Pulaski County Circuit Court, shut down the prosecutor's office, City Hall, and shut down access to every one of your houses, then we're going to do everything that we have to do to hold this city accountable. It's not a threat. It's a guarantee. And when these people come from out of state, you'll have a better understanding and idea of what I'm talking about. I encourage you that if you have any influence with the prosecutor's office, that even if you don't think he can get a conviction, he needs to charge Starks, because once he tells us that he declines to prosecute Starks, I can say it best this way: it's going to be game on. I'm prepared to be arrested. I'm prepared to face these Little Rock police officers and anything else that we have in our face. I'll be out front. I'll be beside and in behind all of the people that you see in this room. And even if I have to stand alone, I'm coming. I'm coming. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. No justice for Bradley. No justice for anyone.
Ms. Dawn Jeffrey.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dawn Jeffrey, Ward 6. So today is March the 19th, and I know you guys know that, but you may not be aware that we are on day 25 of no charges being filed against Charles Starks for the murder of Bradley Blackshire. We haven't seen many leaders being vocal. We haven't seen real transparency, nor have we seen many of these corrupt cops of the LRPD be punished or terminated for their wrongdoing. The community is starting to lose whatever hope, if any, that they had in law enforcement and the powers that be when it comes to injustices in our community. I know you guys aren't responsible for bringing charges, but you can use your voices. You can approve funding to police the police. You can implement a citizens review board. Going forward, Arkansas needs to take more progressive strides for police accountability, starting with body cameras. We request a timeline on how long it will take to provide these body cameras and disciplinary actions if they're shut off. For example, in Memphis, Tennessee, lawmakers are working to make turn off your body cameras a felony after 3 officers murdered Marcavius Banks. So today, make no mistake about it, bringing charges is only the beginning. A life has been taken. He needs to be punished to the fullest extent and should be considered armed and dangerous and a danger to society until he is brought to justice. It's time to stop trying to do the right thing and start doing the right thing when our lives are on the line. We're tired of silence, and I completely back him. Until we start seeing justice in our communities, there will be no peace. We will show up. You will not be able to have business in your place of business. We will show up every time, as many days as it takes, because 25 days for the murder that we saw on the video is So I'm standing right here, and I vow the same vow that he took, that I will stand with this family and any other family that is subject to injustice in our communities. And it happened in Ward 6. Ms. Doris Wright, I think you should be more vocal about what's going on in our communities and standing up for these injustices that's happening against us. And if you can't, and if y'all can't stand up, I'm not just speaking about you, but if y'all can't speak up for injustices and y'all turning y'all face up, but y'all know what's going on here. And if y'all can't speak up for the injustices that are happening in our community, then you need to step down.
Reverend Malik Safir. Reverend and Pastor.
I'm here as a representative of the family, first and foremost because I was called and asked by the family as a pastoral leader in the community to give the eulogy for Bradley. And I can tell you from a spiritual standpoint, this family has been traumatized. They came to me first because of their faith in God, that God is a God of justice, and that when God's people are treated cruelly and unjustly, they have to go to God first because of their faith in God. And so we're carrying the weight of this. We have been victimized by unjust process that's now allowed for accountability to be held for in the same regard for a black life as it is for other lives. So their faith in God. The other thing, the other reason I'm here is because of their faith in those who they elected to represent them. And that the reason we're meeting here is because of that faith. That we're appealing to that faith, that those who say they represent us, those who say they seek justice on our behalf, to take this opportunity now, hearing the concerns of this family and this community, to respond in a way that says that you will represent justice because it's in their best interest as well as your best interest. And I'm also here today because I am a pastor in the community to say that we also have faith in our community, that if the representatives of our community do not stand for justice, then we as a community have to stand for ourselves. And that is why we are vocal now to say that we want you to represent us. We want you to do your jobs. But if you fail to do those jobs, then we have to lean on our own understanding of justice and to evoke the community to rise up and seek justice for us. So I'm here as a pastoral leader in the community. I'm here as the pastor to this family to let them know that we stand on the side of God, a God of justice, and we're here to let you know that we stand with you as long as you represent us. We stand for your issues as long as you represent us. But when you stand against those things, then we have to stand with God and with ourselves to seek justice for those who deserve it. Thank you.
Ms. Davina Axum.
Good afternoon. Today I'm here to speak on the acts and events as they occurred on February 22nd and the officer-involved shooting involving my brother, Bradley Blackshire. and instigated by Officer Starks. First, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I appreciate the attempt to be transparent in your investigation and expediting the process to try to get answers for us, the friends and family of Bradley Blackshire, and hopefully justice in the senseless murder of my brother. Unfortunately, in the investigation, it's kind of brought up more questions than it has answers. And some of those I'm seeking out right now. In my research alone, I came across some 10-plus reprimands of Officer Starks prior to this one that came about. One of those, in particular, in 2016, Officer Starks, commanding supervisor, had recommended his termination. Upon recommending termination, the acting chief of police at that time, Alice Folk, went against that recommendation and instead gave him a 5-day suspension, which seems ridiculous to me. Now this Alice Folk is up for chief of police for our city. So are we taking into consideration these things as we go forward from here to vote for a chief of police? Because we're talking about somebody who overlooked 10-plus reprimands, moved past that. I don't know what those reprimands were, but obviously they were severe enough for his commanding supervisor to say he should be terminated. So what are we doing? If nothing changes, nothing changes. You say it's time for a change. What are we going to do to make a change so that this doesn't happen again to somebody else's brother, father? Bradley was the father of 5 children. Weeks before he died, he was talking to me about how he wanted to be a great dad and how he wanted to be more involved in their lives. And then in seconds, his life was taken. So what are we going to do to make sure that doesn't happen to somebody else? For that, we need answers and justice for Bradley. Thank you.
Montreal Ushery.
Hello, everybody. I'm Montreal. I'm Bradley's cousin. We're 4 days apart, same age. I just want to say I'm scared. I'm scared right now for my life, for my family's life. We scared, and I live an honest life. I've been working since I was 16 years old, never not had a job since I was 16. I do everything I think I'm supposed to do. I've been subject to this same exact thing because somebody thought I was in their car that was stolen that previous day. I was in my own vehicle, but now on Christmas night, I'm turned around and I have guns all drawn at me, 5 police cars. We made a mistake. What is that? Now I'm scared for my life. I'm scared. Nobody wants to do anything. Nobody wants to say anything. I don't know what to say. I don't know what y'all going to do. I really don't. All I know is any human being watches their videotape, whether it's edited or unedited. I see a murder in both. I see a murder, cold-blooded murder to my cousin. My cousin, a good cop. We love that man. Personality through the roof. Y'all should be sad that you didn't get to meet him because he was just that good of a guy. Why did he have to go like that? Nobody deserves that. Any human being can look at that and say, Starks needs to go. He got to go. We got to lock him up and throw away the key. They doing it to everybody else. All of my people are getting locked up and the key's been thrown and they have no chance, no nothing. So I try to do what I can do as a 30-year-old man with a daughter. Do everything you can. Go to work. Make an honest living. Meet new people. Be happy. Be generous. Give. And I still got the same treatment. It doesn't even matter. Bradley did not stand a chance. The people are saying he got pulled over. He did not get pulled over. He was already comfortable in his parking spot. Listening to his music or talking to the old girl or whatever he was doing, he was comfortable. He got pulled up on like a gang man would pull up on somebody. Get out, get out, get out, get out. Boom. He never stood a chance. Anybody can say what they would have done in that situation. Anybody can say, but you're not in the situation. You've never been pulled over in that situation. You've been pulled over for a traffic ticket maybe, but you have not been pulled over with a man demanding you get out of your car with that gun in your face. You never been through it. So don't say what you would do and what you would not do, what he should have did and what he didn't do, what he didn't do or didn't do. He didn't do anything that deserved him to be gone today. That's all I know. So if y'all can do anything, please bring this man to take Starks to jail and bring Bradley some justice, because my family needs some peace. That's all I know. We tired and we restless. I stayed up all day yesterday. This is just too much. I don't even know why we even in this building right now. Thank you.
Mrs. Kim Blackshire Lee. And we will combine the time with Mr. D'Angelo Lee so that you all have a total of combined time together.
Okay. First of all, good evening, board members, mayor, and thank you everyone that came out to support Justice for Bradley. But this is just that, justice for the city. You know, I prepared a speech or something that I thought I wanted to say. But as the individuals came up to the mic and they spoke, I knew that God had already done what needed to be done in this situation. I didn't come up here to point fingers at the Little Rock Police Department or at the city board or anybody at this particular time. What I do know is that something has to change. That we need something to change in our city right now. This is not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. And I'm not trying to, my voice being heard, I'm not trying to turn this into any, threat to anyone or anything bad or anything like that. I just want justice for my son. I wouldn't wish this type of pain on no one. No mother, no father, no family at all. I mean, I look at my grandbabies. They went out to the grave today, and his young son is telling his daddy to wake up. He just want him to wake up, and he don't know he's not coming back no more. You know, right now I need the city to wake up and see what's going on around us right now. We need policies in place. We need procedures followed. We need individuals to hold individuals accountable. That's all I'm asking. I'm just asking that some justice in this situation, that the individuals that we elected and we put into office, because see, I voted. If some of you guys are sitting here, I held campaign signs for, and if I didn't hold them, a lot of the other women that I work with held them signs to put into office. And now, as a citizen, I'm asking you guys to help me, to help my family, to help our community right now. Because right now we're falling apart and we don't know what else to do at this point but to fight for what we know is right now. We need justice in this situation. We need somebody to stand up for us, and you guys are the ones that we elected into office to do that. I don't know. I've begged the community, and now I'm begging the city leaders. We just want some change. That's it. We just want some change. That's it. And justice for Brad.
As a black man here in America, my life is quick to be taken by a person that's supposed to be brought into our communities to serve and protect us than by my own brother. That's facts. That's U.S. Department of Justice facts. We are subject to be killed quicker by a gun-ho, supremacist police officer than we are our own kind. If this was your son, what would you do?
Mr. David Coleman.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Directors, I truly believe Little Rock is at a seminal moment in time. What is going on in Little Rock is going on all over the country. But let me give you a quick historical perspective. In 1927, John Carter was hunted down in Little Rock, Arkansas. He was hung. He was set afire on 9th and Broadway. The police did nothing. In 1957, when black children, 9 of them, wanted to integrate Little Rock Central, the National Guard had to be called out. Police did nothing. 80% of white officers in the Little Rock Police Department do not live in Little Rock. How do you expect this community to feel trusted by the Little Rock Police Department when they don't live in our community? Now, we have a chance here because as the nation looks at us and other communities, as we look into the media and we see all of these people, all of these police officers across this country being acquitted, mistrials, cases never filed, all of the above, Little Rock has the opportunity that it missed in 1927 and in 1957 to do what's right. I, as a black man who is a law-abiding citizen, do not trust the police. I have no offense to them, but when I see a police car, I, as a law-abiding citizen, have fear. I shouldn't have to live that way. In 2019, in a city that I pay taxes for. Now, you heard the pain of these people. I'm almost in tears. I cannot believe that I live in a country that does not value me as a black man. I cannot believe that my son, who is fighting for this country, putting his life on the line in the military, that when he walks the streets of Little Rock, that his life is not valued. Now, this board has an opportunity. No, you can't determine whether or not cases will be filed. You cannot convict Officer Starks. But your voices need to be heard. Now is the time for leadership. It's not a black or white issue. Each one of you all just gave the Pledge of Allegiance to that flag. That flag means to me just as much as it means to you. The Constitution of the United States says that you cannot be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. That flag says to me that every person has the right to be judged by his or her peers. It seems to me in Little Rock and across this country that does not apply to me. And as a black man in America, I stand with the Blackshire family, and I stand with every black man across this country who live in fear every day of their life of the police department.
Mr. Roderick Talley.
I know y'all tired of seeing my face, but I'm here in support of Bradley Blackshire's family. And as a black man, I want to say there's nothing I can do about the color of my skin. And it shouldn't be a crime for me to be this color. I've been a victim of not just the situation that's apparent here, but I've been a victim of the police in Little Rock myself for being black. And I truly believe no parent should ever have to bury their child, and it definitely shouldn't come at the hands of those that are supposed to protect us. We don't feel safe as a race. We don't feel safe in this city. They patrol the neighborhoods. They're in the neighborhood more than we are, and they're harassing, and that's not policing. And not so much as just Bradley's family. Another young man, I don't want this to get swept under the rug either, Tyler Ashford, who was walking home and was harassed by the police and even shot at, and who's now facing capital murder, attempted capital murder of a police officer. It's a shame that it has taken this long for this city to do something when someone can make an accusation against me and I'm in handcuffs 30 minutes later, so the fact that it's to take almost a month for you all to not you all, but for this city, those that are in leadership, to put pressure on those to at least, try to show us that you're trying to bring justice. Transparency is cool, but at the same time, when you're redacting or editing information, that's not being transparent at all. So I would like to say on behalf of everybody that has been a victim of not just in Little Rock, but throughout this nation, like Mr. Coleman said, I would ask Little Rock to take some leadership and some initiative and step up and show the people of this city that you care about them and you care about this family that just lost their son.
Ms. Shalonda Michelle.
Good evening to the family. Thank you for allowing us to speak on your behalf and with you, to the board and to the mayor. Thank you so much. To reach out to this family means a lot, not just to them, but to all of us. When I ran for city board of director, I didn't run for the director seat. I ran for my community seat. And each one of you represent the community. And to see only one person reaching out to this family is a disgrace. It's disrespectful, not to say the least. It's not an economic issue. It's not a social issue. It's none of that. It's not even a color issue. It's what's right. And this isn't right. It's not okay. To watch that video, it was disgusting to see what took place on that video. And for you all not to reach out to this family was disrespectful and it was wrong. Now we have an opportunity to make things right. We have an opportunity to take this now and develop relationships with our police officers and communities no matter where you come from, no matter what your economic status is, the color of your skin. It doesn't matter at this point. What matters is making sure that when mothers like me and Ms. Blackshear, our children, our sons step out, we feel like they're safe. We feel like they're going to come back home and they're not going to be discriminated on. This is a time where we can take our relationships with police officers and develop programs. You have pilot programs for the homeless. That's great. I've been there before. But how about pilot programs that can help develop relationships with communities such as where we come from? If we want to solve the issue, you have to have compassion outside of just your own agendas. You were in their faces when you wanted votes, but you're not in their faces when they need you most. With all due respect, this took place in Ward 6. I have not heard that you've reached out to this family. You owe that to them. You owe that to them. You owe it to them. All of you, the ones, especially those that really say they're Black Power on the board, you owe this to them. Not for some political agenda, but it goes beyond this because they will need healing. And then we don't want police officers to feel that we are against you, but we need to know that you all are for us and with us too. It's a team effort. Thank you. I appreciate you. And again, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for reaching out. That meant a lot to our community.
Dominique Bailey.
Hello, Mayor and Board. As the lady that just stepped away stated, it is not a color issue. It's an issue about what your heart is saying, what your heart is feeling. My 5-year-old asked me, Mama, did the police kill Bradley on accident? And that comes from a kid that tells me, I want to be a police when I grow up. So I'm driving, and I tell him, baby, no. He said, no, Mama, it was an accident. No, that's not okay. Every day, his babies and his mama and his sister and his dad and his cousins and his friends will never get to see him again because of the person that was supposed to serve and protect. You have the right to say, what's your badge number? What's your name? Who are you? Why am I being pulled over? In the tape, he clearly says, I did nothing. What did I do? His name is not Dude. His name is Bradley. All this family is asking for is justice. And that will come when each and last every one of you see that that was not okay. He was not trying to escape. He was not being hostile. He was not being aggressive. And every day I look on the news or I'm looking on the media and I'm seeing all these churches being shot up, all these schools being shot up. And not one of those people were gunned down. They're in cuffs. But my cousin was gunned down and slaughtered like an animal. And he was a man, a good man. I'm on the freeway, ran over a ladder. He saw me and pulled me over, took me home, made sure I was okay. His heart was genuine. And I just hope every last one of y'all heart is just as genuine as his, because he did not deserve that. And until this community and you as elected officials realize we are in a time to where it's troubled and we're fending for our own lives as black people, as white people, as Hispanic people. It doesn't matter. Race is nothing. We all bleed. We all die. We all brush our teeth in the morning because our breath stink. So at the end of the day, give Miss Blackshire some justice for her baby, because that was her only boy. And I can never imagine in a million years me getting one of my boys taken from me by a man that was supposed to protect him. That is not okay. Justice for my cousin Bradley.
Miss Sarah Riley.
As my mom said, only one person reached out to this family, and it was you. So what I'm about to say does not apply to you. I only saw one person wipe a tear from their eye. It was you. And the fact that I don't see any of you guys wiping a tear from your eye after she spoke. Her son is dead.
Miss Battany or Brittany Colette. She doesn't. Okay. Jessica Shreks. He's.
Hello. I would just like to say that not only does this happen just in Little Rock, it happens all over the world. I had a friend that died in the same course of action a couple years ago that was gunned down just because. I mean, for no reason. I mean, if y'all don't start doing something about this and give this family some justice and some peace, there is going to be no peace. Because we're going to fight until it's all over with, until we get some justice. One way or another, it's going to happen. Because I'm going to stand by this family no matter what. and it ain't got nothing to do with no skin color. That's my mama right there. She has helped so many people and saved so many lives. For y'all to take her son's life like y'all did.
Vernita McFadden.
Good evening, Mayor, council people, family, friends. As I sit back and I think over my 50 years of life, and I'm originally from Chicago, and you guys know that there's a lot of crime going on in Chicago. My family actually originated from Arkansas. My boys have now moved back to Chicago. Now, we know how Chicago is, murder capital. But there's nothing more devastating when you don't even want your boys to return back here to Arkansas. I fear their lives is more threatened here than in Chicago. Think about that for a minute. There has been no murders in North Little Rock. What's going on here in Little Rock? When you have, there's so many questions that I have. One, why was he pulled over from the first place? Okay, they said it was a stolen car. But how can a car be stolen on December the 10th, 12th, whatever date it was, to be located or to be reported stolen on January the 4th? From January the 4th till February the 22nd, you mean to tell me that this car was never registered? The person that the car was supposed to have not been returned by, the customer service person says, oh, you returned that. You never rented a car until, June of 2018? So, who was in possession of the car? See, there's too many questions and not enough answers. Where's the Turner Affairs? Where's the board? Where's the chief of police? Where are the people? Where are these lawmakers that are supposed to be in place, like someone said, that are in place to protect the community? Are we a community? And when we say community, that should mean each and every last person that's on this panel. My condolences to the family, and see, as I can honestly say, this made me a family. I never met Bradley, but I've met him through each and every person that has stood here. I know his heart. I know his spirit. And it's going to live on. Right. Some way or the other, it's going to live on. As someone else mentioned, what if it was your child? It might as well have been my own child. Right. Because I feel the hurt. I feel the pain. I feel the anguish. And it's about trying to get some justice and some peace. Thank you.
Robin Jefferson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Robin Jefferson. I am really close friends with the family. Kim is one of my best friends, and her and I share in common. We both have 2 daughters and 1 son, and we worked together for a long time, and we always talked about our kids and different things that they did. And to think that this situation would end so tragic. We thought about all the things that our children could get into and things that could happen, but we never would think that it would be someone that was being paid by our tax dollars to protect and serve our children that will kill her son. This situation is something that needs immediate attention. This family has suffered enough. It's been almost 30 days. The transparency has been somewhat pretty good. I don't think that everything that could have been done has been done. And I believe that each of you hold a place that can expedite this more. We're requesting your help. We're asking that you help us in any way possible at this time. This family has suffered. They need to make it to a place where they're able to begin to process some closure. And we're asking that you just help us at this time. Thank you.
Miss Ivana Williams, you're going to pass.
I just really came up here to say this. When I say, like she said, these are tears that are falling. My brother got 5 kids that now do not have a father. My mama now does not have a son. Nobody feel the hurt that me and my sister feel when we hear our mama crying and weeping and calling us in the middle of the night. Now they're calling us because they're checking on their grandkids. They're checking on they're afraid for everybody now. My kids are scared. I got one that's 6 years old, and everybody in here knows Diana. No, she's afraid of the police. And now she does not even like to come out the house. My kids they don't want to go to school because they don't want to have interactions with the police. We can't go to Walmart because police are sitting at the door because they're scared and they're afraid. And that's not good. I have 2 boys of my own. And I'm afraid not only for my boys, for my girls too. Because they can be in the car, they can be the girl that was in the car and got shot. So it's not right. And yes, I am upset that we elected a lot of people. The vice mayor, she's up here clicking her teeth and she has blinking her eyes. She's not saying anything. She is not any emotion. And we voted for her. It's not right. It's not a race thing. I'm not racist at all. I work right now with people that are not my color. Right now, I take care of them every day. Y'all mamas and y'all other people, I take care of them. I make sure they're okay. And it's not right because I put in for my effort to make sure that y'all are okay, but y'all not understanding where my family is coming from and where the hurt is coming from my family. I got one brother. And it hurts. It hurts really bad that my mama could have been sitting in any one of y'all seats. Anyone. Because I guarantee you, half this audience, she has helped. And we're only asking that y'all help us so that we won't have to turn over into something else. Y'all putting $80,000 into something else when y'all could be putting $80,000 into body cams and making sure that my son is okay. It could be $80,000 into something that making sure that we're safe. Because I'm paying for it. I'm making sure. I've been working since I was 16. Matter of fact, Mama, I've been working since I was 15, right? And I made sure and I put in my taxes. So it's not right that we pay so much money, because I know I get at least $250 took out of my check every 2 weeks, that we paying these police officers. So we need some justice for my family. I know y'all don't gotta care, but I do. And if I don't get justice for my brother, and I don't want it to be violence, I don't want it to be more. I don't want to call these people from out of states and these and that and do all that. All I want is justice for Bradley Jamal Blackshaw Sr. That's it. And his 5 kids and my mama. That's all. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
No. Director Hendricks.
I'm supportive of everything that's been said, but I wanted to ask you how many more cards do we have or how many more minutes do we have? Because I want to make a motion that we adhere to those requests that we have heard. I agree with them. We have sat here and done nothing. And I want you all to know I am an official of the NAACP for 50 years, and I know what you're going through, okay?
Actions speak louder than words.
Okay. So we need to, how many more minutes do we have, Mayor?
NAACP.
How many more minutes? Do we have many more minutes left?
Everyone, 1 second, please. Director Hendricks, out of personal privilege, we've already extended time.
Okay.
We're going to allow, we have 3 more left, but I want to make certain that the community was able to share everything that they wanted to share.
Thank you.
So we have extended that time.
Mayor.
Ms. LaToya Bailey.
Mayor. Oh, I just wanted to let the crowd know I'm ready to take some action for you. That's it.
Ms. LaToya Bailey. LaToya Bailey. Saying it a third time, LaToya Bailey. We'll move on to Ashanti Carter. Ashanti Carter. Is that you, Ms. Carter?
Hello, everybody. My name is Ashanti Carter. I really didn't know Bradley, but this really hit home for me because I have one son. He's 23 years old, and he's currently in college in Oklahoma. But he's down here visiting right now. And I really want him to go back to Oklahoma. I don't want him down here because I fear for his life. You know what I'm saying? And he always check on me and see how I'm doing. And like today, I told him I wasn't going to be at home. He wanted to come see me. So as a mother, I say, when are you going back to Oklahoma? Because this needs to be justice for this family right here. The police supposed to protect us, but they're not. Majority of the things I see police is sitting around harassing our color all the time. Why should be 4 police officers on 1 black guy? I see it all the time. I see it. Does it take that many police to harass 1 black man? Does it? So all I say, I want justice for this family. Or no peace. That's all I gotta say. Black power.
Brenda Woods, please. Miss Brenda Woods.
Hello, Mayor, Board. I would just like to say that I understand what my family is going through because I have a son, and my thing is, he has a record. Bradley had a record. My thing is, just because they had a record, does this give them the right to be murdered? I don't understand it. Maybe some of you all can make me understand. I'm a female, and I'm not going to lie. I'm fearful of the police. I really am. I'm not going to lie. I'm not just saying it. I'm a female, and I'm fearful of the police. I have a 38-year-old son. Every day I call him. Every day. When he's out, police stop him, I tell him to call me. Stay on the phone with me. Talk with me. Police stopped him one day. I'm way out there on Rodney Parham. I talked to my son. I tell the police I'll be there. Hold on. You talking to your mother. They wants to joke. Oh, you talking to your mommy? I said, put him on speakerphone. I said, I don't mean any harm. I said, but officer, what color are you? What color is your partner? I told my son to talk to me until I get there. They think it was a joke. No, it was not a joke. It's not a joke. We're not trying to make it a race war. All we need is justice for my family. No black male should be fearful of even just walking down the street. I've seen it. I've seen in my neighborhood. They're not doing nothing. Walking to the store. What they do? swing down on them. Some of them, they know they alcoholics. They ain't got no ID, but you see them all the time. So why you have to harass them? It's not fair, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that we're so fearful of the police department. I fear for my son. I fear for Miss Bradshaw. I fear for her grandchildren. I'm not going to lie. I look at these babies. I look at his son. He looks up to me. Asks me. I don't know. He asks me. Why the police kill my daddy? My daddy. What can I tell him? I don't know what to tell him. I try not to talk against the police department, but we're going to call it what it is. Murder. Cold-blooded murder.
Ms. Tamikia Jackson.
Mayor and council, I can't really talk. My baby's 10 years old. And I'm scared to death for him to grow up right now. I did move. I moved way out, but it don't make no difference. My friend Kim, her soul, her blood, her sweat is in a whole bunch of people's lives. She dedicated her life so that others can live, to learn to live on a daily basis. I watch her clean out her closets, call me to clean out my closets. Well, how much money you got so we can feed these folks, these homeless folks down here? We ain't got no grant. I know this whole world, I know all of them, doing it every day. She had all them girls over the corners out there working for y'all to get elected. Reforming them back into society, to be a part of society, to make something, and trying to convince them that this was y'all was going to work for them. I'm talking about this thing right here don't sleep. She is working working in 3 treatment centers, on the board of parole officers, this and that, going to school, getting her masters, got grandkids, got this and that, fulfilling, being a family member, being a wife, being a friend, what more can you want? And her son was shot 17 times, and you tell me what can you even say? He was shot out. I didn't know what to say when I seen that bullet in the side of his neck, because they couldn't even cover it up. Thank you.
We have now extended our time, but I want to make a few comments. First and foremost, to Ms. Kim and Mr. D'Angelo, and the entire Bradley Blackshire family and his children, his friends, his entire community. The Blackshires, you know I've already said things with you, and I will continue to be in prayer but it's more than prayer. Faith without works is dead. And as a son of this city, knowing Miss Kim, to know what you call as Paw Paw, I call as Uncle Choke. I know your fabric. I know your cloth and your work. We as a city have to make certain that we embody trust and even verification of trust through accountability, through clarity and transparency. All we have is time. 60 seconds, 60 minutes, 24 hours, 365 days. And each moment is a blessing and it's precious. And any loss of time, any loss of life is always valuable. And we remain in prayer for your family and this entire community and this city. We know, and it's been shared before, that our community is in need of repair, is in need of improvement, to help us make certain that we are very intentional on how we move from being disconnected to connected. And through those connections, we understand diversity, we understand inclusion, we understand perspective, we even understand lifestyle, to make certain when certain things happen, we understand how even to react. So, with even in time, as your mayor, I'll never forget February 22nd. February 22nd was my 53rd day in office. And no mayor prepares for a day like that day. 2 days later, we communed in prayer. We continue to do the same thing, but as I said, we have to move more than just sharing that we are saying prayers. We have to move towards action. What does action look like? Action looks like, on Friday, I should have on my desk, Mr. Carpenter, our first citizen review board ordinance that we'll bring before the city board of directors to be voted on. That is an independent citizen review board in the efforts of police misconduct, police brutality as we move forward. But not only that, we have to understand that this city made conscious decisions in the wake of Bradley Blackshire's death. In 13 days, we released a tape, and I'll never forget those 13 days to even make that decision. Because that decision was made with the community in mind, the city in mind. And we still have to discuss the coming days. We do know that we have to always respect due process. We have to. And I know Pastor Rizal Aaron understands that process and how he's chosen his words. And as we respect due process, we understand now, due to expediting the release of that video, which normally takes 45 days, it was expedited in 13 days. So things can be done as that was done. I want to address that. Mr. Pastor Rizal Aaron, Ms. Kim, Mr. D'Angelo, and Mr. Durrell, and I all watched the tape. I can assure you, after we did do a narrative to make certain that everyone understood all the facts. Please. Now, Mr. Raycop, nothing's been edited except for, I will say what was edited was the dial tone of the phone, the ringing tone of the phone was turned down. That was. Now, Mr. Raycop, I'm talking right now. I'm talking right now because you will not exploit this family for your own good. You will not do that. You will not do that. You will not do that. I will carry on, Mr. Rakoff. As we will continue to move forward in this citizen review board process and police accountability, I'm glad that we are continuing to move that forward. So thank you so much.
No peace. No justice. 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 No peace. None. None.
When we place 911 calls, if they can come and show up on time and not be 45 minutes late, will we have to take matters in our own hands also? Chris. Just because they wear a gun in the bag, they don't have to talk to us in the kind of way, because we'll talk to them in the kind of way, then they want to handcuff us and arrest us because they say we disorderly conduct. That's what they do. They didn't call my name to speak, but I'm going to say it. I hope I'm getting reported.
I know. I'm sure. I'm appreciative. We have now completed the citizens communication portion. We will now, do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
Hey, Mayor, there was one more card. Wasn't on this subject. It was a different subject that
Okay,
she turned
that,
in before.
Mr.
six.
Stein, we'll let you go, and then that'll be the final card. I apologize.
I understand. It's been an emotional afternoon. Good afternoon, Mrs. Adcock, members of the board, and Mayor Scott. My name is Malik Hussein. I'm before this city's board of directors pleading for your oversight, and it's asking for the boards to consider the oppressive practices of Rock Region Metro, the city's solitary mass transit relative to the ill treatment toward the afflicted, low-income, and underprivileged citizens of Little Rock, Arkansas. My request for your introspection is on the basis that this solitary mass transit is carrying out treacherous acts of expulsion of surveillance footage. Rock Region Metro staff are deleting vital footage relating to incidents occurring on their buses involving passenger injuries resulting from driver error. This deliberate deleting of surveillance footage is proving financially profitable for the Risk Management Central Adjustment Company. This issue, my incident of September 6, 2018, was presented to this city's city manager to no avail. Mr. Bruce Moore addressed my incident with avoidance, cowardice, timidity, and fear. I wrote this city's manager totally unaware of this city's ties with Rock Region Metro, unknowing that Mr. Bruce Moore has a seat on Rock Region Metro's board. As a result of my September 6, 2018 incident, I have been allied against by Rock Region Metro legal defense on the premise that 28 minutes of a 40-minute journey was deleted by Rock Region Metro staff. The legal defense has served as a bullying tactic by placing me on a conflict of interest list with this city's attorneys. On this premise, Rock Region's Metro Defense is thereby refusing to pay my mounting medical debts. They are refusing to render an equitable, fair, just, or righteous compensation relative to injuries sustained in order to resolve this incident. This evil footage is void of compassion, adherence to protocol, and a lack of skillfulness. I know I pulled the string at Charles Bussey and Bishop Warren prior to my designated stop of 3.5 years for 22nd and Lewis. The driver reported he didn't hear the bell, yet this driver refused to stop and only performed one of the 6 functions mandated for passenger incidents. The driver's refusal to stop has contributed to the intensification of maladies and the igniting of new handicaps. In closing, members of this board, without closure, without an equitable, fair, and just resolve, I will be compelled to place this bestial, brutal, disturbing, and violent footage on multiple social media sites strictly as a means of decision to combat my mounting medical debts, as a defense to cover functions of livelihood that I am now no longer physically capable of successfully performing as a result of this violent incident, which has yielded affliction, contorting, and distorting of my body. And Mayor Scott and the board, here is the footage. 28 minutes was deleted, as well as the correspondence relative to this. So who do I give this to?
You can give it to me. Thank you so much.
And this is for the board.
Okay. We'll make sure the board has this. Another personal privilege for the evening. We will, with the motion, of course, we will reschedule our executive session for our next board meeting. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned. What's going on, Mr. Carpenter? We've extended our time, so there's no other items on. We've already passed everything.
Okay.
Yes, we extended the time, and we only generally do 30 minutes, sir. I'm sorry. But we'll make certain that if you don't mind coming to the next agenda, the next board meeting, we can do that. I understand. I do understand that as well.